New Jersey has a diner problem, but not in the way you think. The problem isn't that the diners are bad. The problem is that there are too many good ones, and every single person in this state is completely territorial about their personal favorite. People in New Jersey are loyal to their diner, and the dedication isn't even necessarily always about the food. It's about the ritual of the same seat, the same waitress who's been there since 1987, who calls you honey and refills your coffee without asking. The laminated menu with 37 pages that you've never fully read because you always get the same thing. This is a New Jersey institution, like a church, but with better pancakes and worse parking. So today we're going through the best diners in the state. And before anyone in the comments loses their mind because I didn't include their spot, I know, your diner is the best. Your diner should be on this list, but it isn't. Deal with it. Let's go. The Summit Diner opened in 1938 and hasn't changed its personality since, which is either charming or alarming depending on how you feel about things that refuse to evolve. This is a genuine pre-war diner car, the kind they used to haul in on a flatbed and just set down somewhere and say, yeah, this is the restaurant now. It seats 33 people in a town like Summit, which has since turned into the kind of place where people spend $2 million on a 4-bedroom colonial and then act surprised when property taxes hit. That tiny little diner car just sits there like a stubborn protest against everything the town became. Breakfast hours only, and they mean it. They're not staying open for you. You want eggs at 8 a.m.? Great. You want a burger at 7 p.m.? Go somewhere else. Go to one of your Summit restaurants with the exposed brick and the seasonal cocktail menu. The Summit Diner doesn't care about your schedule. There's something almost aggressive about a restaurant that refuses to accommodate you, and somehow that just makes people more committed. It's the diner equivalent of dating someone who doesn't text back. There's no printed menu here. You walk in and you look at the board above the kitchen and that's it. That's the whole document. And somehow that board contains everything you actually need. The corned beef hash platter, the spinach pie that one of the head cooks has apparently been making for decades and treats as his personal legacy. The home fries that people describe like they're having a religious experience at a cash-only diner car in Union County. It's a historic landmark at this point, and it should be. This thing survived the Depression, World War II, and the gradual upscaling of Summit into a wealthy commuter suburb. That's a more impressive track record than most humans I know. The Chitchat Diner has 2 locations, which is a bit suspicious because most great diners don't need 2 locations. They just sit there being perfect in one place. But the Chitchat has pulled it off. Hackensack and West Orange, and both of them hit. The menu is enormous. We're talking diner maximalism. Everything is available. If you can dream it and it fits within the general framework of American comfort food, the Chitchat probably has it. Pancakes the size of hubcaps, omelets with combinations that would make a French chef faint, soups that taste like someone's grandmother made them for 40 years and then passed down the recipe. This is the menu you hand to someone who can never make a decision and say, figure it out. They will still be there 2 hours later. That's fine. There's more coffee. The Hackensack location specifically has this energy where you go in expecting a meal and come out having had an experience. You don't always know what happened. The waitress refilled your coffee 4 times. Someone at the next table was having a birthday. A construction crew came in at 6 a.m. and absolutely destroyed the menu. Everything was loud and warm and vaguely chaotic, and by the time you left, you felt like you belonged somewhere. That's what a good diner does. It makes you feel like you're from there, even when you're not. That's the magic. The Jefferson Diner is perhaps the most architecturally beautiful diner in the Garden State, sitting up in Morris County near Lake Hopatcong, which is a whole other conversation about a lake town that contains multitudes. The Jefferson Diner opened in 1985 and has been meticulously maintained in a way that makes it feel like you're stepping into a very well-preserved 1980s film set. The stainless steel exterior is immaculate. The neon signage is perfect. The interior is exactly what you picture when someone says classic American diner. except it's not a replica. It's the actual thing, still operational, still serving people, still doing its job after 4 decades. Morris County has a tendency toward the suburban comfortable. The Jefferson Diner fits this perfectly. It's not trying to be anything other than what it is. A great diner in a scenic part of the state that people have been coming back to for their whole lives. The Stateline Diner sits in Mahwah, which is the northernmost point of Bergen County before you cross into New York. And it has been right there on Route 17 since 1976, catching people coming and going in both directions. This is a border diner. The last New Jersey breakfast before you surrender to New York, or the first sign that you've made it back to civilization, depending on your perspective and your relationship with the greater metropolitan area. Route 17 is a road that New Jersey residents treat with a complicated mixture of affection and rage. It's one of the great commercial strips of the American mid-century. One light-controlled intersection after another, everybody trying to make a left turn, nobody particularly pleased about any of it. And right there in Mahwah, before the road takes you out of state entirely, the Stateline Diner has been serving as a landmark for 50-plus years. The regulars here are a specific cross-section: truckers, commuters, people who work across the border, people with lake houses in Rockland County, Bergen County families who've been coming for 3 generations because their grandmother used to take them there after church, and now they take their own kids, and the waitress still somehow remembers the grandmother. It is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every single day of the year. That sounds like a basic diner feature because it used to be, but the true 24-hour diner is a dying institution in New Jersey. Most spots quietly cut their hours after the pandemic and never went back. The Stateline Diner, family-owned since 1976, is one of the last ones still holding it down, which means whether you need eggs at 3 a.m. after a wedding in Rockland County, or you're a teenager who made decisions tonight that you'll one day explain to a therapist and you need disco fries immediately, it's there. Welcome to Vincentown Diner in Southampton Township. This place has been open since 1953 and exists in a part of New Jersey that people in North Jersey don't fully believe exists. This is Pine Barrens adjacent South Jersey, where the pace is different, the landscape is different, and the relationship people have with their local institutions is different. This is generational community culture, and the Vincentown Diner has leaned into that hard. They use organic local eggs, locally sourced grass-fed beef, local produce, local honey, local bread, coffee roasted nearby and ground fresh every time they brew. This is basically farm to table in a diner, while the rest of the diner world was still trying to figure out what to do with their leftover iceberg lettuce. Guy Fieri from Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives showed up here and could not stop eating the mile-high meatloaf. This is 2 massive slabs of locally sourced grass-fed beef meatloaf, beautifully caramelized, stacked with garlic mashed potatoes, drowned in a gravy made with veal bone stock and prime rib braising liquid. Guy Fieri, a man who has eaten at thousands of restaurants, said of this meatloaf on camera, "This is tender, this is juicy. Look at me, I can't stop eating it." A man who eats for a living lost control of himself over this meatloaf. Then there's the apple pie French toast, which is also a Food Network feature, and which you need to understand is not regular French toast with an apple on it. It is an experience. And the piney pancakes, made with local Jersey cranberries and apples, and Jersey Jim's famous sweet potato pancakes, which are exactly as good as the name implies, and which will make you feel like you discovered something. The Broad Street Diner is in Keyport, a waterfront town in Monmouth County that had its industrial moment, had its decline, and has been in a slow and genuine revival for years now. This is a community diner in the truest sense, not in the way that's used as marketing language, in the way where the people who work there know the town. The town knows the people who work there, and the whole thing functions as a node of actual social infrastructure, Keyport has this interesting energy where it's simultaneously affordable enough for working people and charming enough that it keeps attracting people who want something different from the standard commuter suburb. The Broad Street Diner doesn't discriminate. You sit down, they feed you. That's the deal. And the deal is good. Big breakfast, real diner sandwiches, the kind of lunch specials that remind you that lunch at a diner is one of the most underrated meals available to you in this state. Monmouth County overall has some of the best diner culture in the state because you've got the shore crowd, the inland towns, the working waterfront communities, and everything in between. The Broad Street Diner captures the best of what makes a small-town Jersey diner work. Local without being exclusionary, consistent without being boring, and the food is always exactly what you needed without necessarily being what you ordered. Next, we're headed to Clinton Station Diner. Clinton is a town in Hunterdon County built around the south branch of the Raritan River, with a red mill that's been there since the 1800s that everyone photographs constantly. It's one of the most scenic downtowns in New Jersey, and it knows it. The Clinton Station Diner is something else entirely. This is a diner that has an actual restored 1927 Blue Comet train car attached to it, not a replica. The actual historic Blue Comet, the passenger train that once ran across New Jersey and is now a dining room. It is painted Packard blue for the sky, Jersey cream for the sand, and royal blue for the sea. They looked at one of the most beloved pieces of New Jersey Railroad history and said, breakfast. Inside that train car and throughout the rest of the building is one of the most legendary collections of memorabilia, antiques, and organized chaos anywhere in the American diner landscape. Over 40 years of accumulated stuff. The walls are covered. Every corner is doing something. Walking in for the first time is genuinely disorienting in the best way. Open 24 hours every single day. The bread is baked in-house twice daily. The dessert case has over 50 homemade options, all made fresh. The hand-cut fries, the freshly squeezed OJ 16-page menu with a full bar. And this is where Clinton Station goes into a different category entirely, the burgers. They have a competitive eating burger challenge. The Atlas is 3 pounds of beef. Finish it in 45 minutes and it's free. But then there's the Zeus. The Zeus is 7 pounds of beef, 15 pounds total with everything on it. Finish it in 90 minutes or split it with a friend in 45 and it's free plus $500. There is a diner in Clinton, New Jersey that will pay you $500 to eat a 15-pound burger. A scenic, historic river town with a renovated 1927 train car dining room and a burger so large they will pay you money if you can finish it. The Cajun waffle fries get brought up constantly. The cheesecake is legendary. They ship it nationwide. The corned beef hash done extra crispy is a specific regular order that people describe with the precision of someone who has been eating it for 15 years. And there are apparently 50 desserts on rotation, all made in-house daily. Finally, we're at Tops Diner in East Newark. People who hate diners would probably still rate Tops highly. LoveFood.com named it New Jersey's most famous restaurant. Time Out and Thrillist have both featured it nationally. It has been called one of America's best diners so many times that the press clippings alone could wallpaper the dining room. East Newark is technically a separate municipality from Newark, one of the smallest boroughs in the entire state by population, sitting right on the Passaic River in Hudson County. And in this tiny borough, surrounded by the industrial and residential density of the greater Newark metropolitan area, Tops Diner has been doing something extraordinary since 1942. The menu has over 200 items, and people who go regularly will tell you almost everything is worth ordering, which is a genuinely insane thing to be able to say about a 200-item menu. The handcrafted burgers, they use 100% USDA choice or prime ground beef formed into patties and grilled to order, get specifically called out as the best in town by people who have eaten a lot of burgers in a lot of places. The Navajo chicken pasta, a Cajun-spiced Parmesan cream situation, has been written up by food columnists as a standout. The Rasta pasta, the shrimp and grits, the French toast, the banana pancakes, enormous, served with bananas Foster sauce at $17 a plate, which sounds like a lot until you see them arrive and realize the problem was never the price. But the desserts are the thing that made Tops nationally famous. The pastry case is a whole destination. The red velvet cheesecake, moist layers of red velvet cake combined with their original New York cheesecake covered in cream cheese frosting, is the signature. It is a New Jersey cultural artifact. The tres leches cake, vanilla soaked in 3 milks, dulce de leche, candied pecans, mango sauce, toasted coconut, cinnamon, whipped cream, and a cherry. The Oreo cheesecake, the carrot cake cheesecake hybrid, the tiramisu made with mascarpone, ladyfingers, marsala, and coffee liqueur. You go to Tops for dinner and you are making dessert decisions before you even sit down because you have walked past the display case and you are no longer a rational person. So there it is, the best in Jersey. And I already know half of you are furious right now because your local spot isn't on this list. That's fine. Come at me in the comments. Tell me about your grandmother's booth at whatever diner you grew up in and why the pork roll there was specifically and uniquely superior to every other pork roll in the state.